Dublin began as odds-on favourites to reach the quarter-finals against Antrim at Croke Park, and Anthony Daly's side started well, as only 20 seconds into the game, Joey Boland put the Dubs ahead. But Antrim hit back, and points from Carl McKeegan and Neil McManus, and this goal from corner forward PJ O'Connell put Antrim 1-2 to 2 points ahead 11 minutes in. And Antrim added to that goal as full forward Liam Watson scored a wonderful point from out near the sideline to increase his side lead to 3. Back came Dublin, who looked strangely lethargic in the opening 35, and it was Paddock Carton who supplied some inspiration at least with this point after being set up by Declan O'Dwyer. And it was Carton again who added to 2 Alan McCrabb frees to ensure that Dublin went to the break level, 10 points to Antrim's 1-7. It looked as if the half-time team talk worked for the Dubs as they raced into a 6-point lead in the 50th minute mark. Simon Lambert scoring a wonderful point from play to make it 18 points to 1-9 in favour of Dublin. Incredibly, instead of pressing home their advantage, Dublin allowed Antrim back into the game, and on the hour mark, Carl McKeegan reduced the margin to 3. Alan McCrabb for Dublin and Simon Delargy for Antrim kept it at 3 before Neil McManus scored 2 frees in quick succession as the Glensmen put 1 between the sides. Dublin, however, could have won it had substitute Liam Ryan not put this great goal chance wide in the last few minutes, which would have given his side a 4-point cushion. As it was, Shane McNaughton took responsibility for this free in injury time as astonishingly Antrim levelled the game. Again, Dublin could have won it in injury time, but Declan O'Dwyer's shot drifted harmlessly wide. And in a hectic finish, Antrim won it as midfielder Carl Stewart pounced on the loose ball to put Antrim into the quarter-finals against a dumbfounded Dublin side. Antrim's first ever championship win against Dublin, as it ended Antrim 117, Dublin 19 points.
It was a great result for us today now. We had a tough game last week against Carlow. We prepared well all week and we were looking to give Dublin a good game, and we just squeezed out the right side of the result today.
Where does this leave you and your management team, do you think?
Well, I don't know. I suppose tonight isn't the night for any decisions really. But everyone is feeling like never want to see a hurling game again now at the minute. So I suppose that's not the time to be making anything rash. Like I suppose I would have agreed to stay on for 2 years at the start of the season. But I don't know. If we're not making real progress, there's no point, and if the message isn't getting through, whatever kind of a message we're trying to deliver, but everyone will have to reassess the situation. I don't know. We'll have to just think about things over the next couple of weeks.
Owen Kelly was tormentor-in-chief when Tipperary beat Offaly in their previous championship meeting, the corner forward supplying 112 of their total in the 07 qualifier. And even though the captain was on fire again at Portlaoise, there was a more even spread of scores for Tip this time round. Declan Fanning set up a year old Ryan for a nice early one. And even though they weren't hitting any great heights when Noel McGrath struck a beauty from near the sideline, he became the 5th Tip man to split the posts in the opening 17 minutes and put his side 6 points to 1 in front. Offaly were hassling and harrying, but looked tired and weren't able to penetrate nearly as often as they needed to. Joe Bergen's effort was one of just 2 points from play they scored in the whole first half. They did have 9 wides though. Of course, they were playing into a massive wind, but even without being outstanding, Tip were still pulling further and further clear, continuing to find new scoring threats, like David Young and Brendan Maher from midfield. 8 different first half scores for the Munster men, 9 points up at the break at 14 points to 5. But Liam Sheedy mustn't have been all that impressed. He kept the Tip players in the dressing room so long at half time the linesman had to go into the tunnel to call them out. And it didn't seem to make much difference. Tip continued to be the dominant force without ever really setting the world alight, showing occasional flashes of what they're capable of, like the link-up play between Ryan and McGrath and Owen Kelly, who brought his own tally to 6. Offaly might have been frustrated when a Daniel Kerm's effort was then waved wide by one umpire and over by another, and were definitely frustrated when Kevin Brady was picked out and handed a straight red for an off-the-ball incident with less than 10 minutes left. Shane Dooley's free-taking had been immaculate throughout. But not even a late goal for him, which put the final deficit at a respectable 6 points, could mask the fact that this was far too easy for Tipperary and they hadn't even come close to peaking. Final score in Portlaoise, 21 points to 112, bring on Galway in the quarter-final.
Thankfully, the leads that we've got stood, because I guess the last 10-15 minutes we haven't really been finishing out the game, but we go in, as I said, and that's the area we've got to work on for next week.
We didn't play quite as well as we did against Galway either. Now we just didn't get back up to the heights of those two games, and today was our 4th game in 5 weeks as well, so maybe that might have told a little bit.
All right then, well, let's get some reaction. Well done on your victory over Dublin. Did you honestly expect it?
Well, we prepared well for the game, and when you prepare well, anything can happen.
Yeah. The Offaly game, you nearly beat Offaly in Parnell Park a few weeks ago.
That's true, but I felt the Offaly game was maybe 2 weeks too soon for us. We weren't quite ready for the first round of the championship. But we were lucky then that we had Ulster Championship to turn back to. We had a good game against Down, and then we had the Carlow game. So we had lots of games under our belt for that game.
And when you say you weren't ready for Offaly, is that because you hadn't enough matches?
Well, geographically, Antrim is a long way away from Hurling counties, and it's not easy to get a challenge game midweek or anything like that. So anytime we were to play Dublin and we were to play Carlow, but due to exams at the time, we didn't have a team to play the games. So
why did you go back to Antrim? It's such a long distance for you.
A good question. I often ask myself the same question, but I honestly don't know. But 2 men sort of twisted my arm to get me to go back, and when Bobby Thornhill came on board, it sort of made it an awful lot easier. He had to drive an extra 60 or 70 miles than I had to drive. So and then Jerry Wallace came on board as well. So I think we got a good team behind the team, and then the players started to respond, so it made it an awful lot easier again.
And we can see the celebrations at the end. It must mean a lot for hurling people in Antrim.
Well, it was indeed. The dressing room after the game, it was like winning an All-Ireland.
Right. And Cork coming up next week.
And that's a tough task. They're a good outfit. They've proved that over the years. That there's a lot of All-Ireland medals down in Cork there, so it'll be a tough game.
But will they be excited about it, the players?
Well, we didn't meet since I didn't meet. We'll meet on Tuesday evening, and we'll take it from there.
All right then, okay, keep it low key, that's the way. John Henderson of Kilkenny, is that a big setback for Dublin?
I think it is a big setback for Dublin. I think the expectation there was that Dublin were going to progress to the quarter-final, and Dublin have been on an upward trend, although last year they failed at the same stage again and were disappointing. They don't seem to have any forward power of any great note. It seems to be the great weakness for them, and I think Anthony Daly doesn't look too happy there, and I'd say he really is considering his future. But it's unfortunate, because Dublin really needed to win that if they're to maintain the momentum that they've had built up. And I think the under-21 was a distraction during the week for them. Even though it was a success, I think it distracted from their preparation. And I think they were probably a bit cocky going into the match, to be honest.
Right. Johnny Dooley of Offaly, a word about Antrim. You saw them against Offaly.
Yeah, they were very good that day against Offaly, and it went to extra time. But it was their level of performance that day, and there was a lot of things that impressed me about them. Their physical strength and their striking at the ball. They have a lot of very good hurlers, can strike off both sides, and it took Offaly an extra time to win that game. And
what about Offaly's summer? It's ended now today, but
well, I suppose today was disappointing. There's no point in saying anything else. I'd say a lot of the players would be disappointed with their own performances today, and Offaly supporters came out in big numbers today to follow them. But I suppose if you were to look back on the year, it has been a good season for Offaly. We've held Division 1 status, and we had the 2 very good games against Galway. They were very enjoyable, and I think it put a bit of heart back into the Offaly hurling.
Good, okay. John Henderson, it's now it's only Kilkenny for the All-Ireland.
Yeah, they're in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Everybody is saying that they're favourites, hot favourites. I think Kilkenny are where they want to be. They're in the All-Ireland semi-final. I think that's the way they planned it. They'll probably get some of the championship matches out of the way, keen competitive matches, and it's a place they're used to, and it's the best way of getting to the All-Ireland is to be there and let all challengers come on and take them on. Red hot favourites, not something any team wants to be. But look, if they're good enough, they're good enough.
But it's interesting, you're saying that they might play club championship games now in Kilkenny. So many other counties cancel everything if their county team is...
I think this is the strength of Kilkenny, that they actually, you know, the club game is fundamental to their success, and the quality of the players, you know, the players are playing competitive matches and then they go into training and they're competitive. So, you know, there's no need for challenge matches. Kilkenny play very few challenge matches, and the challenge matches in Nolan Park in training. And I think they had got it, you know, they got the system sussed.
Okay. Cyril, the quarter-finals now, Galway playing Tip, has been part of the Leinster Championship a big plus for Galway?
It has. They're playing at that level at an early stage and they're getting games, like, and it brings everyone at the, you know, they're getting the games they wanted. After saying that,